Hi everyone, it's Tara Bianca with Light Transformative Therapy, and today I want to share 8 tips for improving your focus during your breath practice. Okay guys, I've got 8 tips for you today, and if you want to jump right to them, you can check the timestamps in the video description and head right there. But otherwise, before we dive in, I wanted to try something a little bit different today. So, my 13-year-old nephew called me the other day, and he said,
Auntie Tara, you gotta make announcements at the beginning of your videos. No one is watching till the end of your videos.
And after some consideration, I realized he's absolutely right. So I wanted to start off today's video with a few quick announcements, and then we'll jump right into those 8 tips. Number 1, if you enjoy or get value out of my videos, the greatest and easiest way for you to help support the growth of Be Light is to subscribe to my channel, like my videos, share my videos, and leave comments. I can't tell you how much these simple gestures help to support not only me, but any one of your favorite YouTube creators. And if you'd like to be notified every time one of my videos releases, please go ahead and click that notification bell. I release at least one new video every Tuesday morning at 7 a.m. Eastern Time, and soon I will be releasing a second weekly video every Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. Number 2, if you haven't already, please sign up for my totally free breath training. It's called the Breath Basics 6-Day Challenge. It's on my site now. You can sign up for it today. The link is on your screen right now. It's also on the end screen and in the video description. And lastly, number 3, if you'd like to donate to my channel, but you'd also like to get some value for yourself, please check out my other services. These include a private online Be Light community and also a live online 4-week deep dive into functional breathing. That's called the 4-week breath bootcamp. You can find all of these links in the video description. Check them out, and I hope to see you guys in there. Okay, so here we go. 8 tips for improving your focus during your breathing practice. Several of you have reached out to me and told me that your mind is wandering way too much when you sit down to do your breathing practice. And so maybe you can't even make it 2 or even 5 minutes through your breath practice without totally losing focus. And this makes it challenging for you to even attempt to do some of the longer breath sessions that I offer on my channel. Well, what to do? Let's brainstorm some ideas together, and hopefully a few of them will resonate with you. Number 1, just practice shorter sessions for a while. There is definitely no shame in practicing a shorter session. You definitely don't want your breath practice to be a source of self-punishment. In fact, with a lot of my clients, I actually recommend several short sessions throughout the day, as the effects are more powerful than, say, one really long session once per week. And I also think that in this crazy modern world that we live in with information overload, we can afford to give ourselves a little grace. If you genuinely do not have time to sit and do a focused 20-minute breath session, what can you commit to instead? Can you commit to a 1 to 2 minute session? Does that sound more feasible? If that does sound feasible to you, then this week I invite you to find just one breath exercise that you really enjoy practicing and commit to practicing it for 1 to 2 minutes every hour on the hour. If that still sounds like too much of a commitment, then maybe you can commit to 1 to 2 minutes every other hour on the hour. If you manage to practice that 10 times a day, then you've done a 20-minute conscious breath practice. Bravo! That's 20 minutes more of conscious, focused breath practice than you would have done if you had just thrown the whole practice out the window completely. Tip number 2, especially if you feel called to try a slightly longer breath session, is to choose a time of day when you actually feel a little bit sleepy. If you sit down to do your breath practice and you're super amped up and you've got a million things on your mind and a huge to-do list, even though those are the moments that you probably need to breathe more than ever, you're not going to be able to settle yourself and you're going to feel defeated by the process. So I instead invite you to find a time of day where you feel the most calm and choose to only practice your conscious, focused breathing during that time, for now. And a really good tip, which applies to sleep as well, is to write down all of that stuff that's in your head before you sit down to actually do your practice. Get it all out on paper so that you don't forget it, but that you also don't have to think about it for the next 15 to 20 minutes. Tip number 3 is very much related to tip number 2, but try not to ingest any stimulants right before settling down to focus on your breathing. You're stacking the deck against yourself. It is very hard to settle the body and the mind when you've just directed your physiology to be as energized as possible. It's a complete conflict of interest. So try to time your eating and your drinking habits appropriately around your breath practice. Tip number 4, give your mind something constructive to focus on. If you're trying to focus on your breathing, but your mind keeps wandering, which is totally normal by the way, so again, please do not punish yourself for this. Just give your mind more concrete cues to focus on. For example, try focusing all of your attention on the sensation of air as it comes in and out of your nose. Maybe notice that the air is slightly cooler on your inhale as you bring the air into your nose, and maybe notice that the air is slightly warmer on your exhale as you allow the air to pass out of your nose. If you're seated, you can place your hands on your lower ribs and you can feel them gently expanding out on your inhale and gently deflating in on your exhale. If you're lying on your back, you can place a hand on your belly and you can feel your belly gently expanding towards the ceiling on your inhale and gently deflating towards the floor on your exhale. As you scan through these different sensations going through your body, it will keep you more grounded in the present moment and on the actual act of breathing. Tip number 5, when in doubt, count. Counting engages that analytical, logical thinking mind. So if your mind really wants to think about something, at least give it something to think about that is congruent with your activity. For this to be effective, choose a breath cadence that you really enjoy. Maybe 4 counts in and 6 counts out. And simply count in your head throughout the entire practice. Tip number 6, create some air hunger. Whenever you hold your breath, your survival instincts kick in a bit, right? Like all circuits are on and you are totally focused and paying attention to what is happening in this moment. So if your mind tends to wander a lot, I invite you to choose a breathing technique that incorporates a certain amount of breath retention. This could be something like the mini breath holds that I teach, or something like a simple box breath. Tip number 7, allow your body to move. In the Oxygen Advantage, we ultimately say that your breathing is only functional if you also take that functionality with you into your daily activities, into your physical exercise, and into sleep. So for those of you who have a hard time sitting down and focusing on your breathing, number 1, you're not alone. And number 2, there can be a ton of value to learning to focus on your breathing while still engaged in some type of movement. I mean, this concept is sort of at the core of any yoga or qigong or tai chi practice. The breath initiates the movement. The breath guides the movement. So I invite you to try a simple experiment. Just go for a walk. And while you're walking, I invite you to focus on maintaining a specific breath cadence of your choice. If you're walking briskly, it might be a bit challenging to maintain a very slow breath cadence. So my suggestion would be to try something like 4 counts in and 4 counts out, or maybe a 3x3 or 2x2 box breath. During movement, your breathing is naturally going to want to speed up a bit. So try to choose a breath cadence that suits your movement, but that you can also easily sustain for the entire duration of your walk. And then the last tip of the day, number 8, is keep your eyes open. If your mind is wandering during your breath practice, maybe you're getting caught up in those labyrinths of your internal environment. Open your eyes. Ground yourself in the visuals of the environment that surrounds you. If you're feeling too alert to sit quietly with your eyes closed and focus on your breathing, opening your eyes in a way helps to meet your nervous system where it's at. My suggestion with this is to try to keep your chin parallel to the floor and your eyes on the horizon as much as is possible. You can soften your gaze a little bit, and instead of trying to focus in on one distinct point directly in front of you, try to take in a more global visual field. That's it. Those are my 8 tips for helping to improve your focus during your breath practice. It's not exhaustive, but I think it's a good start, and you can also feel free to try combining a number of these tips into a single session and see how that works for you. If you try any of these out, please let me know how it goes in the comments below. And if you have any other suggestions from your own personal experimentation, I'd also love to hear those. Please drop those in the comments below as well. Please remember to subscribe, like, comment, and share. I want to thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope to see you next time.